Welcome back. This is Everything Teen, Part 2. Last week we left off after the slide on mental health and teenagers. So this week we are starting on with Do You Enable Your Teen? I am Joylyn Allard, and I am here today with Leslie Minton and my intern Katie. So the definition of enabling is one who enables another to persist in self-destructive behavior by providing excuses or by helping that individual avoid the consequences of their behavior. So to kind of figure out if you enable your teen, think about the following questions. Have you ever called in sick for them from school or work when they weren't sick and they could have attended? Have you made excuses for their behavior? Have you ever lied to anyone to cover up their behavior? Have you incurred any legal fees as a result of their actions? Have you accepted blame for part of their behavior? Like, oh, if I would have done this, then they wouldn't have done that. Do you avoid talking to them about the behavior for fear of their response? Have you paid bills that they were supposed to have paid or loaned them money? Have you put your values aside in order to connect with them? Have you ever given them or said you're going to give them one more chance and then it ends up being another and another? Have you threatened them with negative consequences but not followed through? Have you finished a job or project that they have failed to complete for themselves, whether it's homework or an assignment or something, a school project? Did you find ways to justify their negative behavior? If you said yes to any of those questions, you probably enable your child. So, how to monitor your teen effectively? Discuss with your teen those rules and expectations that you have for them. We talked about rules and expectations in an earlier section of parenting. Explain the consequences for breaking the rules. This point was also discussed in a previous week. Listen to your teen often about how they are feeling or what they're thinking. Know your teen's friends. Discuss with your teen what they have planned when they are going to do those things and hang out with their friends, where they're going, what they're doing. Do you have anything on monitoring? Well, checking your child's online safety as well.
As far as monitoring goes, there's a fine line between invading privacy, but it's important to remember that their brains are not fully developed yet, and so giving them too much privacy is going to be problematic just because they don't navigate things well. There's things like cyberbullying that you have to be mindful of, that you're not going to see unless you're monitoring their accounts and things like that.
There's also diet and exercise, making sure they're not struggling with their body image to the point where it becomes an eating disorder.
Also, there's a fine line between body positivity and teaching your child to be unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that I'm a bigger person myself, so I don't say that in a shaming way, but being positive about your body is a good thing. But putting yourself in a position where at 30 you're going to have bad knees because you're 200 pounds overweight is not.
Yeah. But it also goes back to the show This Is Us or My 600-Pound Life, where people who are morbidly obese have had issues with food ever since they were little.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the times when you see stuff like that, it's because there's not good coping skills and they're using food for things other than
comfort,
just enjoying it. And so looking for those types of warning signs as they're getting older. If they start to isolate, if their appetite changes one way or another in a big way, is their attitude changing? Is their sleep patterns changing? Some of these things are going to be normal, but if you see like a huge change, there's usually an underlying issue. And it's important to kind of seek those answers out, whether they want to give them to you or not.
I know my grandma, when it comes to monitoring teens, when I was a teenager, she would let me go places, but she like had this app on my, not an app, we had an AT&T for a phone provider, and they have like a family like monitoring thing. So anytime there was a new number on my phone, who's this? How do you know them? She would also, I think, possibly even track it. She would lock it at a certain time so I wasn't staying up all night on my phone and I was getting sleep.
And there are tons of apps that do things like that now. Sprint is another company that offers a family monitoring in their plan. Most cell phone companies, if you request it, can print out text messages if you're not wanting to go through your kid's phone. But there's also apps that you can put on their phone or on your phone that will allow you access to email, text messages, things like that. Snapchat
is another story.
Snapchat, it disappears, and they've actually created an extension to Facebook Messenger that turns it into like a Snapchat. So they're talking to somebody. Vanish mode. So they're talking to somebody, and as soon as the person reads the message disappears. Snapchat, you can have your kid make sure that it's 24-hour viewing so that everything stays on there for 24 hours. So if you, but I would just not recommend allowing anybody under the age of 18 to have Snapchat. And I would check your kid's Facebook settings. Also, recently found out that my niece was using Google Docs on her Chromebook. So her mom monitors all those things. And so then she started sending Google Docs to her friends through the Chromebook at her school. So that's been fun.
That's a fun way to pass notes in school.
Yeah. Well, that's good information.
Kids are so smart.
They are smart. And
you should just fold up a piece of paper to flick it across the room.
I know. We did it, like, never mind. Okay. And another thing when it comes to like monitoring your teen is being realistic. So like I set like, and we'll talk about this more later, I set like hard expectations for myself as far as like what I wanted my nieces and my kids to do in certain situations. But as times have changed, you have to understand that like social media and friends and TV unfortunately have more influence on your teen than you do, honestly. And so understanding the messages that they're getting from those areas and dealing with it in a way that fosters communication and partnership instead of like being a drill sergeant.
Yeah.
Which has been hard on my behalf because I'm very drill sergeant. I was raised by my grandparents, so I'm like
very authoritarian.
I'm learning how to be more authoritative. But when I first started the journey with my nieces, I was definitely authoritarian.
I believe it. So before we get into monitoring social media, this is an audio attention verification question. The question is from last week's material. What are 3 ways that toddlers and teenagers are similar? Please write down the question and your response to the question, and either create a document to submit, or just write it down to type into a forum later. There we go. Monitoring social media. So what's that look like? Monitoring online safety. There are lots of predators out there. There's a lot of easy access for predators out there. Whether it's through social media sites or clickbait, all sorts of stuff. Online gaming. Make sure your child's not oversharing information. My kid used to go to Woods here in town when we lived here and just be like to random strangers, my name is blah blah blah, my birthday is blah blah blah, I was born in Marshall, my favorite color is red. And I'm like, dude, you are definitely oversharing with a bunch of strangers. You want to give them your social security number too while you're at it? Make sure that they are not basically making sure that they accept only people that they know, not people who they think they might know, or people that they just think are attractive that they don't know, because they could not be who they think they are. It's called catfishing. Make sure their location-based services are off. And that doesn't mean necessarily turning the location off on their phone, because parents still need to be able to track their phone's location, but some apps have individual settings in there where they're not turned on, or when you download it, you just don't allow that app permission to your location services. That can also be managed in the app manager on your phone. You can disable location services for certain apps. And then also make sure when they're posting pictures that they're not posting pictures that are inappropriate in content, or even like can give away your address, where they might be, because if someone is cyber stalking them, it'd be easy for someone to find them. So knowing what social media sites your teen is using is really important. Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Now we're getting into ones I probably don't even know. WhatsApp, Whisper, I've heard of Whisper, Kick Messenger, Tumblr, Ask.fm, Tinder, Blender, Hot or Not. And these change all the time. And even the ones that are here, their features change all the time, like Leslie was saying, with the vanish mode on Facebook Messenger. So just knowing what your kid is using, and sometimes, as you could tell in one of the videos, even looking through their apps is not a bad idea, because there are apps out there that are designed to look like calculators or calendars and stuff like that, but it's really a vault for them to keep secret stuff.
Also monitoring, like, even, I know that we've talked about this, and like we're talking about teens right now, but monitoring even at a young age is important, because predators will often have started putting things like in the middle of cartoons. So it's important to understand that too, and that's even important. That's something to think about if you have a teen that is still like has a disability and is still into like Paw Patrol and stuff like that. Because I know my brother was into SpongeBob until he's still into SpongeBob, and he's 34. So
or even just nostalgic, or have younger brothers and sisters.
Right. And then being aware that most dating apps have a 13 and under, or like most dating apps, you can create a profile as long as you're over the age of 13. And so being aware of that, predators can go in as under 18 without them realizing it. And so being aware of those things too, like Tinder and Tumblr are both like dating sites.
Tumblr's a dating site?
Yeah, I think so.
Tinder's a dating site.
Tinder, maybe I'm thinking, or is it Bumble?
Bumble.
But I know that Tumblr might not be, sorry. But I know like
Tumblr's
Tinder
kind of like Reddit, isn't it?
I don't know. Honestly don't.
I have no idea. I'm just guessing.
But Tinder definitely is. And then there's dating portions on Facebook and
Or like the
Snapchat.
hot or not where you like
Yeah.
swipe and stuff.
Yeah.
Or Meet Me.
Yep. Which are all considered hookup sites. Just so you know. Sorry.
This is a good video, and it talks about like kids and the stuff that they hide on their phones.
Now to our new series, what your kids don't want you to know. You may think you're keeping close tabs on what your kids have on their phones and what they're posting, but as ABC's TJ Holmes is about to tell us, it is hard for even some of the most involved parents to know everything. TJ, this is eye-opening.
Hey there, Lara. I could not believe what we were hearing. These families you're about to meet allowed us into their homes, cameras rolling, when they had a conversation that might be overdue in your home. This is a conversation that can be difficult, it can be uncomfortable, it can get heated, but it usually happens in private. And it all starts with a seemingly simple question to parents. Do you really know what your child is doing on their cell phone?
We knew this conversation wouldn't be easy. But we weren't expecting this. Tears.
I'm in shock.
And questions of family trust when these kids agreed to reveal to their parents what's really happening on their smartphones.
What?
First, we sat down with 8 Southern California moms and dads to find out what they think they know.
Just how often are the girls on these cell phones?
Every second.
When are they not?
Every day.
Constantly.
When are they not?
Yes, in the shower.
Wait, whoa, whoa.
Yeah,
Shower.
in the shower.
Yes.
Our daughter puts it into a Ziploc bag, plays music, and she takes a shower.
These parents all have access to their child's cell phones through a passcode or fingerprint, but still struggle to explain what their kids are doing.
Whether to see if they can figure out what they're drawing.
And see, I don't know what that is.
No, what is that one?
Where they meet up?
Ask
Ask
FM.
I thought it was a radio station.
Next, we sit down with the 6 girls, Cammie, Gianna, Allie, Sabrina, Bella, and Alyssa, all between the ages of 11 and 13.
Do you all have any apps that you all think your parents might not be so pleased about?
I have Calculator Plus. Like I have it, but I only use it for like embarrassing pictures of my friends. A lot of people use it for like inappropriate pictures, like nudes.
There are multiple apps that look and function like calculators, but put in a special code and a private folder opens up where you can store photos. Another app, Ask FM, where users can anonymously post questions to other users. We found some inappropriate posts on Cammie's page, like, "What are you wearing?" Remember, she's 12.
Like our friends are getting asked, like, or saying, like, you're hot, or like, you're cute, or will you go out with me?
Because it's
anonymous.
A lot of people are like open about it because like it's anonymous, so people can just basically
Say whatever they want.
Yeah.
Now to Instagram. They all use it. Gianna, the youngest of the group, has the most followers.
1,000? Oh, who are these people?
Well, I know most of like.
But the girls have a second Instagram account their parents don't know about. It's for their friends' eyes only. It's called a Finsta.
It's basically a fake Instagram that you use to like post embarrassing photos of your friends.
Sure, sounds innocent enough, but experts tell us under the cloak of secrecy is when bad things can happen.
Oh, I've gotten like a 19-year-old. Like he just he texted me like the direct message and he said, "Hey, what's your number? Pics. How old are you?" And then I blocked him.
Yeah, we reached out to all the folks, Ask FM, Calculator Plus, Instagram as well. The folks at Ask FM, the only ones, gave us a response saying what they're trying to do, guys. Well, they have to do. They spend a lot of money trying to find the right balance between, privacy and protection for these kids. But this was really eye-opening. Looking forward to tomorrow when you get the families in that kitchen and have that discussion and everything is revealed. I couldn't believe it.
As a parent of 2 teens, please, I want to know.
It's hard to keep
We
up.
need to know.
It's hard to keep
And so what will we hear tomorrow, you were saying?
The kids are going to reveal what the parents didn't know. I get them all together, and it was amazing to see the pain and the heartbreak because trust became the issue in that kitchen.
Well, we got to get that information out there.
Yeah, thanks for doing that,
Really
TJ.
important.
I know my kid, he's 9 years old, and his dad got him a cell phone recently, and I, no shame, check his phone. I also know that Google has settings like Family Link where I think there's even an internet like act where kids under 13 aren't allowed to do certain things, like have their own accounts for. I think
a lot of places won't allow kids under 13 to have their own account.
Yeah.
Or they have to.
So they have to have parental access. Like even me signing up my kid for Pottermore to take the sorting quiz, he had to have parental consent, which means he had to put my email address in. They sent me an email and I had to confirm whether it was okay or not. So if your kids are honest, that's fine and dandy, but if you have sneaky kids...
Well, that's where, like, you have to think about, like, when we talked about communication.
Uh-huh.
The reason kids are sneaky is because, for one, they know what your expectations are. And for two, they know that conversation is going to involve yelling, grounding, lecturing. It's not a conversation they want to have.
Yeah.
And so, like, when we're communicating when we have healthy communication about these things, and, it's not just like one day my kid turns 13 and I'm gonna like barrage them and go through all the things. But when it's a consistent thing, then it makes it easier.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh.
The online world for a kid or teen can be dangerous. There are predators and social media scams. But it's also a way to connect with friends, images and updates filling their feeds. For a parent, you want to make sure your kids are safe. And there's a law to help give parents more control. The Children's Online Privacy Protection Act requires commercial websites, online services, and mobile apps to get the parents okay before collecting any personal info on kids younger than 13. For Michael Chase, privacy is a privilege for his kids. His 7-year-old twin boys may have cell phones, but they're only used for games.
I give them a decent amount of space. I mean, I keep track of what they're doing without being physically present. You know, like anything that Oliver downloads on his phone appears on my phone.
He says at age 10, the boys can start making calls, and they get their privacy officially at age 18. Technology has actually helped make monitoring your kids easy. Take the app, for example, Life 360. It allows family members to communicate throughout the day and share their locations. But that's a waste of money if you ask University of Colorado professor Amy Hasanoff.
It's much better to just start from communication, build a relationship, talk about these things, have an open dialogue.
She says monitoring them in any way violates their privacy.
You're kind of setting up kids for this expectation that, well, if someone loves you, they should be able to read all of your text messages.
She believes no matter how closely you watch, kids will always find a way around it. So what do kids think? For a lot of them, cell phones, for example, are a part of daily life, even in class.
A lot of people are on it pretty often.
High school sophomore Ashley Piper knows, though, its main use is to stay in contact with Mom.
I got a phone in about 7th grade, and she likes it to keep in touch with me when I'm in, like, a friend's house.
Linda Wojcik didn't have to worry about computers or social media when she raised her kids. They're adults now. And she wasn't big on chaperoning them as teens. She gave them space and says she had an open line of communication always.
I ended up with kids that if they did, if they had a few drinks later in life at a party, they called me and said, I'm staying there. And that's what I wanted from them.
She says it's still paying off.
I'm best friends with my kids today. We have a wonderful relationship.
Jackie Crea, Denver 7.
My grandparents had that same policy. If you ever find yourself in a situation where it's dangerous for you or someone else to drive home, just call me. We'll pick you up. We would rather you be safe at home. No questions asked.
I think this is where that fine line comes in. Because
yeah.
What they're saying is not wrong. When you are invading your teen's privacy, often the message is, I love you and I just want to keep you safe. Mm-hmm. And that sets them up for an abusive pattern later in life, because an abuser, often control and isolation are the first things that happen before physical abuse ever happens. But there is a fine line, mm-hmm. and that's I'll say it 50,000 times during the next slides or whatever. Communication early and not overreacting to situations early is going to create a place where you don't have to.
A safe haven for communication.
Right. You don't have to. If you created if you're a safe place for your kid to come when they've done something wrong, when they have a problem, any of those things, if you become that safe place for them, then you're not going to have to monitor their phone like you would a kid that has a more an authoritarian parent, because that parent isn't safe. They're going to come to you and they're going to tell you who their boyfriend is. They're going to tell you if they're having problems at school. They're going to tell you if someone's bullying them, because they know that you're, first of all, going to be able to help them, and second of all, they're not going to be in trouble in a negative sense for whatever's going on.
Mm-hmm. I think too, being able to to go through their stuff privately without them knowing, where those family apps come into place. Because you're not physically taking their phone away from them and going through it. You can do it in the privacy from your own phone through a different app.
Well, and I think also explaining that they're not 18 yet, and that privacy is a privilege that you get as you get older. Explaining what privacy is, what they have to do to earn your trust and to maintain that privacy, and then talking to them about why it's not appropriate for a romantic partner to have the same expectations.
Right.
So that they can differentiate between
a parent keeping them safe versus a boyfriend being or girlfriend
controlling.
being controlling.
Right.
Oh, my nose itches.
The online world for a kid.
Also, a part of monitoring them is going to be knowing their text or spoken lingo. There's like slang. There is all sorts of fun emoji combinations or letter and number combinations that can mean anything, and we have no idea.
Yes.
So keeping tabs on that, but not using it. So knowing what they're saying will greatly help us understand the content of their conversations. It'll help alert us to potential areas of concern. But we also need to be careful of not using or overusing them, otherwise it'll lose their the cool factor, and then they'll just establish new ones, leaving us clueless. Mm-hmm. Like, wasn't there a scene in Mean Girls where Regina's mom tried to say that's so fetch, and then or something, and then her mom was just, Regina was just like, go away, mom, you're not cool, type of thing. Go fix your hair. So if you overuse something, they'll change it to make it cool again, because us parents, whether we like it or not, we're not cool to them.
Right. And understanding their lingo isn't about, like, you're not going to connect with your kid by using the slang that they're using. Then you just look sad. I remember, like, that's not how you do it. Understanding their lingo is so that when you open a message that has 15 different letters but don't make an actual word, you know what it means. Like, they've started this thing where they insert letters for number, or they insert numbers for letters. And it's like a code. Like they legit, teenagers have done this. They make codes for things. And so you using it isn't going to bring them...
It's a Da Vinci Code.
The teenage Da Vinci Code, yes.
But the other thing, too, is, like, you don't want to sound like a wannabe sorority girl or frat boy trying to connect with a bunch of other people that aren't really your age. I just picture college where the non-traditional students who are, like, in their late adulthood trying to connect with the young fraternity guys.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't.
Here's some videos on spoken and text lingo for teenagers.
It's blunt.
Let's dip at 8.
Iconic. Girl, you're straight poppin'.
So she ratchet.
Need a translator to understand your teenager? We found some.
Salty is a word that you describe when someone's not in a good mood.
Down in the DM means like when deciding when you're gonna hook up.
Woke means to be alert and aware of what's happening in today's world.
Teenspeak is really nothing new. Every generation has had its own language. Just consider how the word great has morphed through the years. Boss, groovy, rad, bad, the bomb, and now today, it's lit.
Lit means that something was awesome. The party that I went to was so lit.
Teens use coded language as an expression of independence, a way to create an identity separate from parents, and sometimes to keep their parents in the dark.
Netflix and chill is when you go over to your significant other's house and you guys go to watch Netflix, but you don't watch Netflix, if you know what I mean.
Slang works almost like a bird call to your social group, creating an instant bond.
Straight fire means you're hot.
What's up, dude? So it's like abbreviation for what's up.
And of course, there are even slang words for the group itself. Fam is the inner circle.
Fam are the people that you ride or die with.
So if you're going down the hall, you'll say, "What up, fam?"
Not to be confused with squad, a word inspired by pop icon Taylor Swift.
Squad goals is when your group of friends has something that everybody else admires.
Taylor Swift isn't the only musician with entries in the Urban Dictionary. Beyoncé alone is responsible for Slay, Flawless, and I Woke Up Like This, each a message of female empowerment. Pop culture of all kinds generates slang.
I'm it.
Yada, yada, yada.
Population.
Of course, not all slang catches on.
That is so fetch. Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Once a word goes mainstream, it's dead. YOLO, short for You Only Live Once, was popularized by the rapper Drake. YOLO became so overused, Drake apologized on SNL.
I did not realize your annoying friends and co-workers would use it so much. My sincerest apologies.
Bae is like a short word for babe or baby, and that you use it to call your boyfriend or girlfriend.
Because if you don't want to take the time to say baby, it actually saves you a lot of time.
Bae went the way of YOLO. Once it showed up on Ellen and in tweets by Burger King, Sonic, and Olive Garden, Bae was doomed. Because of social media, slang these days gets hot fast and burns out faster. Take On Fleek, which started as a vine about perfect eyebrows.
Eyebrows on fleek.
It went viral, and in just a matter of months, Taco Bell and IHOP were tweeting it. So if you use it now, as the kids say, you're basic.
It's very basic to like Starbucks or to wear Uggs or to have Lululemon leggings. Super basic, and you're not original.
As a parent, you may want to be goals, but there is one surefire way to get your kid to throw some shade, and that's talk like this. Or even worse, like Seth Meyers trying to make friends.
Hey, what's up, player? You ready to get lit?
That was a dab.
The big takeaway from all of this is, as a parent, you're not supposed to get it, and the painful truth is, we're kind of not cool enough.
No.
We're basic. We're basic. We are basic.
The coolest thing to do is not try. Like, don't even anticipate.
Yes.
Let them have their words.
Just accept you're not cool.
Remember when your parents did it and you're just so, it was so cringeworthy?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we're those people.
Yeah. You're right, Savannah.
Restraint.
That's right.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of
If you are old, like some people, not like me because I'm so young, there are some really key words that you should know in the teen world. So here are the top 5 teen texting lingo. Number 1, FOMO. Fear of missing out. FOMO. FOMO to me is lame-o. Okay, that's ridiculous. Like, if you have that fear of missing out, go do something. Don't just sit on your phone and keep telling everybody FOMO, FOMO, FOMO. It just doesn't make any sense. Just go do mo. If you're FOMO'd, that means your friends probably didn't want you there to begin with. Second one, very close to the first, MOMO, mystery of missing out. First of all, you sound like a cow. If someone goes MIA, you're Momo'd. They probably went MIA because they don't want to talk to you. I'll solve the mystery. Nobody wants to hang out with you, Momo. Why even do the word Momo? I don't even get it. Next. Everybody knows the term selfie. Well, here's the new 2016 term, Ussie. Let's take an Ussie picture, guys. Ussie is spelt us with an IE at the end. Why isn't that Ussie? Ussie means a bunch of stupid idiots taking pictures together and they decided to call it Ussie. Why don't you just say, let's just take a picture together? Group photo. Another one. Now this is an acronym. NGL. Not gonna lie. Well, I guess that's not bad. Also, what is this whole thing? Hilaire. Don't be like that. Just say it's hilarious. Shortening a word does not make it crazily cool. If the whole world started shortening words, what would happen to everyone? Say you went to the doctor, so the doctor tells you, hey, brah, sorry, just want you to know that you have can. All right, see you later, totes. Hope everything goes well at your funeral. And you're like, can what? Can get better? Can move on? Can you help me? So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the world, don't change the English language. It's already there. We already have it.
This is a visual attention verification question. Please read the question, write it down, and your response to submit at a later time. There are 5 ways to find healthy balance of media and technology. The first one is to be a role model. Model what you want your kids to do when your kids are around. Set an example by turning off phones or putting them away. Using media the way you want them to use it. Keeping their mobile devices away from the table, turning off the TV when it's not being watched, use the DVR to record shows later, start good habits early. The secret to healthy media use is to establish time limits and stick to them. Start when your kids are young by teaching screen limits that work for your family's needs and schedule, and that don't just talk the talk, walk the walk, do it yourself as well. Use media together whenever you can. Watch, play, and listen with your kids. Ask them what they think of the content. Share your values. Help kids relate what they learn in the media to events and other activities in which they're involved. With older kids, you can draw them out by sharing stuff from your Facebook or Instagram accounts. Keep distractions to a minimum. So you probably tell your kids all the time to turn their phones or tablets off during homework time, to get rid of the things that distract them, such as games, TV, phones. Hide your apps so they don't display. Set your phone to do not disturb, or shut down the devices during important family or quality time, or any other time that's just important to be alone. And then turn off work. Many parents feel the need to be constantly accessible to their jobs, but that creates a lot of stress and frustration, and it's not realistic to be available to your jobs at all times. So set those boundaries between family time and work time and stick to them.
It's really important that your kids have downtime when they get home. Cyberbullying with like Facebook and all that stuff has made it to where kids really aren't safe anywhere. So if they're having a hard time at school, it just follows them home. Mm-hmm. And so making sure they have those limits at home is going to give them a space to decompress and help them kind of cope with that.
Which leads into our next topic, cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is when a child, preteen, or teen is tormented, threatened, harassed, humiliated, embarrassed, or otherwise targeted by another child, preteen, or teen using the internet, interactive or digital technologies, or mobile phones. It has to be a minor on both sides, or at least have been instigated by a minor against another minor. Once adults become involved, it is no longer considered cyberbullying. It is plain and simple cyber harassment or cyber stalking. Adult cyber harassment or cyber stalking is never called cyberbullying.
Run away, away with me. Lost souls in revelry. Running wild, running free. Too crazy with me. I said, yeah, living like we're renegades. Yeah, living like we're renegades, renegades, renegades. Long live the pioneers, rebels and mutineers. Go forth and have no fear. Come close and lend an ear. I say, yeah, living like we're renegades. Yeah, living like we're renegades, renegades.
Have you ever cyberbullied anyone? Have you ever been cyberbullied? Have you ever witnessed cyberbullying? 100% of teenagers answer yes to at least one of those questions. So that means everybody has a part to play to help stop this needless behavior online.
Play your part by using stop, block, tell. Stop. Stop and think before posting something online that might be upsetting to someone. Think about how you would feel if you were in their position. Block. If you are a victim of cyberbullying, block and report the person that has been bullying you. Tell. If you think you're being cyberbullied, report the person that's bullying you to a parent, guardian, or teacher. Cyberbullying is not okay. Nobody deserves it, and we can all help to put an end to it. For good.
In regards to cyberbullying, parents need to be the one trusted place that kids can go when things go wrong online and offline. Let the school know and the school guidance counselor to keep an eye out for in-school bullying. If you do see cyberbullying, because a lot of times the two coincide. If one's happening, the other one probably is as well. And ask the guidance counselor to check in on the child and how they're handling things. If there's any indication that personal contact information has been posted online or that any threats have been made to your child, go to local law enforcement to see about what you can legally do to take action against those individuals.
Also, I would keep in mind that most forms of social media have a place where you can take a break. You don't necessarily have to delete the entire account, but you can deactivate it for a certain amount of time. And your kid may not agree with that, but that's the safest thing for their mental health, is to just completely take that situation out of the picture.
Remove themselves from it.
Right. Also, I'm the aunt that is really, really protective, so don't become that mom or dad that then becomes the bully of the bully, because that's not how you want to address things either, and that can end up getting you in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I got.
Agreed.
A new virus, unlike any other, has infiltrated schools through social media. A pandemic quickly spreading around the world. Its origin is yet to be known. However, individuals with a history of negative and violent home environments are often more susceptible to contraction. This girl has been infected. She is now host to the virus and risks spreading it to anyone. Every post the host makes and every text she sends exposes the virus to multiple people instantly. It is highly contagious and no one is immune. But some individuals may suffer more greatly from its side effects. The virus has chosen its victim. Carriers of the virus can be the least suspected of people and may even be unaware of their own infection. No one, not even this girl's parents and teachers, are aware that she is carrying such a deadly disease. Strains of this illness can be transferred by phone, email, and social media. Through wireless and satellite transmission, it can reach you at home, at school, or anywhere. The effects of the virus can take hours or days before getting out of control and causing serious damage to its victims. The virus feeds on those who are vulnerable to feeling emotions of hate, anger, envy, insecurity, and peer pressure. The effects have proven severe and could cause emotional scarring, creating long-term symptoms of depression and, in some cases, suicide. But there is a way to fight against it. Fight the virus. You can put a stop to it. In support of Pink Shirt Day, join the battle against bullying. Write in pink to prevent further outbreaks of this pandemic. Protect yourself and report cases of the cyberbullying virus.
So some cyberbullying tactics are important to understand so that you know like what ways a child can be cyberbullied, and so they can be easily recognized and that action that's appropriate can be taken. Some of the most common cyberbullying tactics include posting comments or rumors about someone online that are mean, hurtful, or embarrassing, threatening to hurt someone or telling them to kill themselves, posting a mean and hurtful picture or video, pretending to be someone else online in order to solicit or post personal or false information about someone else, posting mean or hateful names, comments, or any content about their race, religion, ethnicity, or other, like their culture or any other personal characteristics online. Creating a mean or hurtful web page about someone. And then there's something called doxing, which is an abbreviated form of a Word document, which is a form of online harassment used to exact revenge and to threaten to destroy the privacy of the individuals by making their personal information public, including their addresses, social security numbers, credit card information, phone numbers, links to social media accounts, and other private data.
Also, kids that don't have good boundaries, that have access to Chromebooks from school, if they give friends and stuff their passwords, they can send emails and things like that, and it looks like it's coming from the student when it's not.
Here's a video on the top 10 forms of cyberbullying.
Top 10 forms of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is a worldwide problem that's growing fast. In this video, we'll take you through the top 10 forms of cyberbullying so you have the knowledge to protect your children. 1. Exclusion. Exclusion can happen in several ways. Your child might be deliberately excluded from online activities, conversations, or social media tags. Children who don't have the latest technology, such as a mobile phone, are prone to exclusion. 2. Harassment. Harassment is sustained and intentional bullying, comprised of abusive or threatening messages sent to your child or to a group. This can severely affect a child's mental well-being. 3. Outing. Outing is the act of publicly humiliating a child or group through the online posting of private or embarrassing information without consent. Even reading your child's messages on their mobile phone out loud can be considered a form of outing. 4. Cyberstalking. Cyberstalking is a dangerous form of cyberbullying in which attackers harass victims through online communications like email or social media. It also refers to adults using the internet to contact and meet young people for abusive purposes. 5. Fraping. Fraping is when someone logs into your child's social media account and impersonates them, posting inappropriate content in their name. Remember, everything rude or otherwise posted online may never be fully gone, even if deleted. 6. Fake profiles. Fake profiles can be created by someone to hide their real identity with the intention of cyberbullying your child. The cyberbully may also use someone else's email or mobile phone to harass them. 7. Dissing. Dissing is sending or posting cruel information about your child online to damage their reputation or friendships. It also includes posting damaging photos, screenshots, or videos online. 8. Trickery. Trickery involves gaining your child's trust so that secrets can be shared publicly online. A cyberbully will befriend your child, leading them into a false sense of security before sending their private information to others. 9. Trolling. Trolling means deliberately provoking a response through the use of insults on online forums and social media sites. A troll will personally attack your child, aiming to make them angry and provoke a response. 10. Catfishing. Catfishing involves stealing online identities and recreating social networking profiles for deceptive purposes. Catfishers look at your child's profile and take information to create a fake persona. This could involve using personal information, potentially damaging your child's online reputation. Please share this video with other parents to help spread awareness and put a stop to cyberbullying.
Cyberbullying prevention is can be done by being aware of what your children are doing online and making sure that they're being monitored appropriately. Knowing the warning signs of cyberbullying. Many of the warning signs that cyberbullying is occurring happen around the child's use of their devices. Some of the warning signs that a child may be involved in cyberbullying include noticeable increases or decreases in the usage of their devices, including texting. A child exhibits emotional responses such as anger, laughter, or being upset to what is happening on their device. A child hides their screen or device when others are near and avoids discussion about what they're doing on their device. Social media accounts are shut down or new ones appear. The child teen starts to avoid social situations, even those that they enjoyed in the past. And the child or teen becomes withdrawn or depressed or loses interest in other people and activities. On to regular bullying. Bullying is any unwanted, aggressive behavior among school-aged children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. The behavior is often repeated and has the potential to be repeated over time. Both kids that are bullied and those who bully others can have serious lasting problems. So bullying can be anywhere from teasing and name-calling, inappropriate comments, to hitting, tripping, spitting, kicking, punching. And then there's social, like leaving someone out on purpose, telling other children not to be friends with someone, spreading rumors, or embarrassing someone. This video kind of demonstrates how real-life bullying at school and cyberbullying kind of intermingle.
We are all brothers and sisters. I imagine that every person on earth has been affected in some way by the destructive spirit of contention, resentment, and revenge. The spirit of envy and hatred has led to some of the most tragic stories in history. Perhaps there are even times when we recognize this spirit in ourselves. We are not perfect. The people around us are not perfect.
Jess! Jess, come on! Mom needs a car!
People do things that annoy, disappoint, and anger. Though we cannot look into another's heart, we assume that we know a bad motive or even a bad person when we see one. This topic of judging others could actually be taught in a 2-word sermon. When it comes to hating, gossiping, ignoring, ridiculing, holding grudges, or wanting to cause harm, please apply the following. Stop it.
Jessica!
Hey, why didn't you call me? Such a loser.
Hey, hurry up! Get in the car! Where were you? You okay?
I'm fine.
Whatever. Well, we got a youth activity tonight at the old folks home in like 30 minutes. Me and my friends are gonna go if you want to come. Mom! Mom!
Hey kids! Just leave the keys on the counter. I'll be down in just a second. Have fun at your activity.
Alright, well, I'm gonna start walking. Are you coming?
No, I've got homework.
Alright, well, don't drink all the juice.
We may get there before the day is
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, I'm first, not you, Sam.
Draw.
Say go.
Whatever you're going anyway.
It doesn't even matter.
No, he doesn't get to take it.
Love that drama.
You cheating? You got a wild card on
This is why you. Are you kidding me, Sam? This is why you
That's
always
a
win.
secret.
We super
Go back to
good.
your room.
Okay. See you, Sam.
Hey, are you the one that made that picture of Melissa?
What picture?
You made her cry in biology today.
Look, I was just joking around, so people need to stop taking things so seriously.
Jessica? Thanks for drinking all the juice. Jess? Jess? Jessica? Jess?
Hey. You okay? I looked at your phone. Who wrote that?
Who cares? They're right.
Oh no, Jess. No, they're not. They don't know who you really are. I mean, Jess, they're just kidding around.
You are just like them. Especially at school.
Haven't we all, at one time or another, meekly approached the mercy seat and pleaded for grace? Haven't we wished with all the energy of our souls for mercy, to be forgiven for the mistakes we have made and the sins we have committed? Forgiving ourselves and others is not easy. In fact, for most of us, it requires a major change in our attitude and way of thinking, even a change of heart. Consider the following questions as a self-test. Do you harbor grudge against someone else? Do you gossip? even when what you say may be true? Do you exclude, push away, or punish others because of something they have done? Do you secretly envy another? Do you wish to cause harm to someone? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you may want to apply the two-word sermon from earlier. Stop it. There's enough heartache and sorrow in this life without our adding to it through our own stubbornness, bitterness, and resentment. This mighty change of heart is exactly what the gospel of Jesus Christ is designed to bring about.
I'm truly sorry.
Let us be kind. Let us forgive. Let us talk peacefully with each other. Let us do good unto all men.
But at the time, it just...
Allowing us to see others the way our Heavenly Father sees us, as flawed and imperfect mortals who have potential and worth far beyond our capacity to imagine. Because God loves us so much, we too must love and forgive. Remember, in the end, it is the merciful who obtain mercy.
Also, when it comes to bullying, we need to be able to recognize the signs of bullying, and also the signs that our child is bullying someone else. Bullying can make a child feel helpless. Kids may want to handle it on their own just to feel in control again, so they might not come to parents for help, or they're scared it might make them might make it worse. Kids fear backlash from the kid who bullied them, so they might not reach out to you for assistance, or they might be scared of how you might react to it. Like Leslie was saying, she's the overprotective aunt, and trying not to go after the kid who bullies her niece is difficult. Sometimes. To prevent or stop bullying, when adults respond quickly and consistently to bullying behavior, they send the message that bullying is not acceptable. Research shows that this can stop bullying behavior over time. I've had instances where my kid is both the bully and the person who's bullied. It's kind of like a revenge type scheme. Because of that, teachers aren't very prone to step in and help. They're like, well, you did this, so making sure that your teachers are aware as well. No single factor puts a child at risk for being bullied or bullying others. Bullying can happen anywhere in the cities, suburbs, or rural towns, depending on the environment. Some groups, such as lesbians, gays, bisexuals, anybody in the LGBTQ youth community, or youth with disabilities or socially isolated youth, anybody who's deemed as being unusual or weird or different can have an increased risk of being bullied. Generally, children who are bullied have one or more of the following risk factors. They are perceived as different from their peers, such as being overweight or underweight, wearing glasses or different clothing, being new to school, not being able to afford things that are considered cool, They are perceived as weak or unable to defend themselves. They are depressed, anxious, or have low self-esteem. They tend to be less popular than others or have few friends. They do not get along well with others, are seen as annoying or provoking, or antagonize others for attention. However, even if a child has these risk factors, it doesn't necessarily mean that they will be bullied. So who is most likely to be a bully? There are two types of kids who are more likely to bully others. Some are well connected to their peers, have social power, and are overly concerned with their popularity and like to dominate and be in charge of others. The other is the person who is more isolated from their peers, may be depressed or anxious, may have low self-esteem, be less involved in school, easily pressured by peers, and not able to identify with emotions or the feelings of others. Children who have these factors are more likely to bully others. They are more aggressive or easily frustrated, have less parental involvement, or having issues at home, think badly of others, difficulty following rules, view violence in a positive way, have friends who are bullies, and remember that those who bully others do not need to be stronger or bigger than the people they bully. The power imbalance can come from a number of sources such as popularity, strengths, intellect, and children who bully may have more than one of these characteristics. So what are the warning signs that our children or teens are being bullied? Look for these changes in your children or teen. However, be aware that not all children who are being bullied will exhibit the warning signs. Some signs that point to a bullying problem are unexplained injuries, lost or destroyed clothing, books, electronics, or jewelry, frequent headaches, stomach aches, or feeling sick, or faking illnesses to get out of school, changes in eating habits like suddenly skipping meals or binge eating. The teen may come from a home where kids may come home from school hungry because they didn't eat lunch, because they don't want to sit in the cafeteria where the bullies are, difficulty sleeping or frequent nightmares, declining grades, loss of interest in schoolwork, not wanting to go to school, sudden loss of friends or avoidance of social situations, feelings of helplessness or decreased self-esteem, self-destructive behaviors such as running away from home, harming themselves, talking about suicide. If you know someone in serious distress or danger, don't ignore the problem, help them get the assistance they need right away. Signs that a child is bullying others include getting into physical or verbal fights, having friends who bully others, they are increasingly aggressive, they get sent to the principal's office or get detention frequently, have unexplained extra belongings or money, they blame other people for their problems, they don't accept responsibility for their own actions, they are competitive and worry about their reputation and popularity. So the effects of bullying are across the board, not only just for the person who was bullied, but also for those who bully others and the witnesses of the bullying. For those who are bullied, these teens and children can experience negative physical, school, and mental health issues. Individuals who are bullied are more likely to experience depression, anxiety, increased feelings of sadness and loneliness, changes in sleep and eating habits, loss of interest in activities they enjoyed. These issues may persist even into adulthood. There's also health complaints because of the stress of everything. It can cause real or imagined illnesses. The stress hormone that we as humans produce in times of fear and anxiety can have an impact on our physical health as well as our mental health. There's also decreased academic achievement, their GPA and standardized test scores, and school participation may drop, or they might miss them or drop out of school. And a very small number of bullied children might retaliate through extremely violent measures. In 12 of the 15 school shooting cases in the 1990s, the shooters had history of being bullied. For those who bully others, kids who bully others can also engage in violent and other risky behaviors well into adulthood. Kids who bully are more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol during adolescence and adulthood, get into fights, vandalize property, drop out of school, engage in early sexual activity, have criminal convictions and traffic citations as adults, and eventually be abusive toward their romantic partner, spouses, or even their children as adults. For those who witness the bullying, kids who witness have an increased use of tobacco, alcohol, and other drug use, have increased mental health problems, including depression and anxiety, and might miss or skip school. So, like I said earlier, not all kids are going to come to an adult for help. In a statistics that was put out in 2012 for the indicators of school crime and safety, said that less than half, which was 40% of bullying incidents, kids did not tell adults. Or an adult was notified in less than half of the incidents. Kids just don't tell adults for many reasons. Bullying can make a child feel helpless, and the kids may want to handle it on their own to feel that control and power, gaining some of their lost power back. They may fear being seen as a tattletale or being seen as weak. They may also fear backlash from the kid who bullied them and possibly like their friends. Bullying can be a humiliating experience, so kids may not want adults to know what is being said about them, whether it's true or false, and they fear that adults will judge them or punish them for being weak. They also don't want to relive that humiliating experience by telling someone else. Kids who are bullied may already feel socially isolated, and then they might feel like nobody cares or could understand enough to step in and help. Kids may also fear being rejected by their peers if they do tell. Friends can help protect kids from bullying, but the kids are also fear losing that support. They'll be like, oh well, if they told on so-and-so for doing this, they'd be scared that if something happened that they would tell as well. There are other forms of aggressive behaviors. There's peer conflict. Peer conflict is not bullying when two kids have no perceived power imbalance and they just have like an argument or disagree. Conflict resolution or peer mediation may be appropriate in these situations. There's teen dating violence, which is where an intimate partner or like a relationship between two young people who were once in a dating relationship turns violent. There's hazing, which is the use of embarrassing or dangerous or illegal activities by a group to initiate new members. There's gang violence where there are specialized approaches to addressing violence and aggression within or between gangs. There's harassment, where although bullying and harassment sometimes overlap, not all bullying is harassment, and not all harassment is bullying. Under federal civil rights laws, harassment is unwelcome conduct based on any protected class, such as race, national origin, color, sex, age, disability, or religion, that is severe, pervasive, or persistent and creates a hostile environment. And then there's stalking, which is repeated harassment or threatening behavior such as following a person, damaging a person's property, or making harassing phone calls. And then there's also workplace violence or bullying, which can occur when your teen has a job The term bullying is typically used to refer to behavior that occurs between school-age children. However, adults can be repeatedly aggressive and use power over each other too. Adults and teens in a workplace have a number of different laws that apply to them and that do not apply to kids. So I think I heard a story, I don't know if it was from here or another area, where a teenager either had attempted suicide or did kill himself over a supervisor at work that was mean to him. I don't remember where that was from. But basically, they can have issues with their supervisors or employers bullying them, as well as their coworkers who are adults or anybody else if there's a power imbalance within their workplace. Here are some ways to empower your child against bullying. Model compassionate, respectful relationships. Stay connected with your child and strengthen your bond with them. Model confident behavior with other people. Directly teach your child respectful self-assertion. Teach your child basic social skills and how the dynamic of bullying works. Practice and role model or role play situations. Teach your child that there is no shame in being frightened by a bully, in walking away, or in telling or asking an adult for help. Teach your kids to intervene or to prevent bullying when they see it. Teach your child basic bully avoidance and teach them not to hesitate to intervene. Here's a visual attention verification question. Please write these questions down and respond to it appropriately to be turned in at a later date. Pause here to answer. Puberty. From bullying to puberty. Puberty is when a child's body begins to develop and change as they become an adult. Girls develop breasts and start their periods, and boys develop a deeper voice and start to look like men. The average age for girls to begin puberty is roughly 11, while boys, the average age is 12. But there's no set timetable, so don't worry if your child reaches puberty before or after their friends, and it's completely normal for puberty to begin at any point between the ages of 8 and 14, and that the process overall takes about 4 years to complete. During puberty, our teenagers will be moody. Their mood changes, and it can be a difficult time for children or teens. They're coping with all sorts of changes in their body and possibly dealing with acne and body odor, at the same time feeling unconscious, especially for women or girls who are developing a certain ratio of fat to produce breasts and thighs and hips and all sorts of stuff. They may think that they're just getting fat, and it can make them really self-conscious. Puberty can also be an exciting time as children develop new emotions and feelings. But the emotional roller coaster they're on can have psychological and emotional effects such as unexplained mood swings, low self-esteem, depression, and aggression.
The root of the word relationship is relate. In the 20 years I've spent helping teens and parents, one thing has always been constant. When parents and teens struggle to relate to one another, their relationship suffers. Now, this isn't new, but an increase in things like teen depression, anxiety, and suicide is new. The Journal of Abnormal Psychology reported that from the years of 2008 to 2017, there was a 64% increase in major depressive episodes with just 14 and 15-year-olds. In 2017, the CDC reported that suicide was the leading cause of death for 10 to 17-year-old kids right here in the state of Utah. This last stat is very personal to me because I work with families whose kids are on that list. See, parents come to me when their kids are struggling, they're isolating, not doing good in school, experimenting with drugs, self-harm, and having suicidal ideations. They're scared. They're desperate. They want to know what to do. The good news is the family, no matter what it looks like, can be the first line of defense. But in order for this to happen, there's got to be a solid relationship between the parent and the teen first. Which is why I suggest parents take on a whole new approach to parenting called the parent-teen partnership. But first, I want to share with you the two most common parenting styles that I see in my practice that are damaging the relationship between parents and their kids. The first is shaming, something that usually starts out with a question and can look and sound a little like this. What were you thinking? How many times do I have to tell you? What's wrong with you? The second, complete opposite, coddling. Questions are also used here. For example, will you go to school if I buy you a new video game? Why aren't you starting? Do I need to go talk to your coach? What do you mean you don't have any friends to hang out with? Do you want me to call some of their moms? You may recognize some of these parenting styles in your own parents. That's because they've been the go-to methods for generations. The problem is, they're outdated. Both come with good intentions to motivate and to protect your child, but the message isn't being received. This is actually why I created something called the Parent-Teen Partnership Model and the Parent-Teen Partnership Agreement. Unlike shaming and coddling, partnering helps you build and strengthen your relationship with your teen. Partnering also uses a totally different language style. Instead of using ridiculous questions, partnering uses statements. For example, that can look and sound something like this. I got the feeling you've had a rough day. I don't know if you have, and I don't even know if you'd want to talk to me about it. But if you did, I'd love to listen. Now I want to share with you a real-life example of a mom and a daughter that I worked with that did the Parent-Teen Partnership Agreement. Mom came to me looking for help for her daughter, Ashley. Ashley had been struggling with depression, anxiety, self-harm, and at times she was suicidal. When they first came in to see me, they couldn't relate to each other, and they were complete enemies. Mom had taken her phone and her friends away from her and had Ashley on complete lockdown. The first thing I made mention to them, though, is that this agreement's success was contingent upon their willingness to negotiate, compromise, and then just follow the agreement. Second, I told them I wanted them to tell the other person what they wanted them to work on the agreement. Oh, and they had plenty of things they wanted the other person to change. For example, Mom wanted Ashley to stop rolling her eyes at her. And, right? You guys know that one, right? And Ashley wanted Mom to quit freaking out so much. That one happened a lot. Well, I told them that this agreement had to be more measurable instead of emotional. So Mom said, okay. But in order for Ashley to earn back my trust, I need to see her effectively manage her school, her phone, and her friend time. I said, great idea. Well, let's give Ashley something to motivate her with first. So how about this? If she follows the agreement for 3 weeks in a row, let's give her back all of her privileges and even give her a chance to negotiate for more. Then I added, we should also surprise Ashley by telling her she can have 1 hour phone time a day the very first week before she's even earned it, just to show her that you're thankful and you're reasonable. I had Mom up until the last part. This scared the crap out of Mom. Mom was like, what? Give her back her phone and her friends. That's what we normally fight about. And here I am telling her, yeah, give it back to her before she's even earned it. But Mom was smart. Mom knew something was at play here. So Mom agreed. Let me tell you, the look on Ashley's face when she saw that her mom, by the way, that she was begging, can I just check my messages for 5 seconds? Because you know it's always longer than 5 seconds. And she couldn't even get her mom to do that. And now her mom's going to give her back her phone every day a little bit. In just 3 weeks, she can earn back all of her freedoms. Ashley all of a sudden was, this actually sounds like a really good idea, this agreement. So Ashley agreed to the following. No more than 3 tardies in a week. No more than 3 missing assignments in a week. No unexcused absences. turn in your phone on time at night, and when you're out with your friends, just come home on time. When Mom saw that Ashley was all in, Mom was like, I better step up my game, and so she agreed to some of the agreements that Ashley had. The first one was no constant reminding Ashley of the rules of our agreement to save her from failing. The second, don't check her grades and her attendance every other hour, just once a week. The third, no criticism or sarcastic remarks about her progress or lack thereof. Finally, we added that if Ashley didn't keep to her agreement, she would give herself a consequence. Well, I suggested she go without her phone or her friends for 24 hours every time she broke a rule in the agreement. But the good news was we let her choose which of the consequences. However, we did add, if she broke the same rule 2 weeks in a row, Mom would choose her consequence on the third week. You know, it was about this time, Mom didn't want to make it sound like Ashley, had to do all the work, so Mom shared something with Ashley. She said, I know if I don't keep up to my end of this agreement, I'm going to lose something that feels far worse. I'm going to lose her trust, which is going to equal in a broken relationship and connection. Mom's worst fears. Ashley also shared something. She said, I'm starting to see what's going on here. This agreement just gives me everything I wanted in the first place, but now it's up to me to work hard to keep it and then to earn more. I'm happy to report that because this mom and daughter formed a partnership, they found greater purpose in their relationship. The agreement had just helped them find that purpose, and at the same time, taught Ashley some very important independent living skills. Ashley just graduated from high school and is moving out going to college and has never been better. Mom can now rely on her, and Ashley, she trusts Mom can handle anything in the future from here on out. Parents, your teens' problems aren't necessarily the biggest problem. If they feel like they can't trust you and you can't relate to them, well, then that is actually the biggest problem. Do not wait for your teenager to change. Change the way you see them. Thank you.
So puberty in girls starts anywhere before 8 years old is early, but anything after 14 is late, and it takes 4 years to complete. The first sign of puberty in girls is usually that their breasts begin to develop. It's normal for breast buds to sometimes be very tender, or for one breast to start to develop several months before the other one. And also, one of the first signs is pubic hair also starts to grow, and some girls may even notice more hair or darker hair on their arms or legs. Later signs of puberty in girls is after years after puberty starts, and for the next couple of years, the breasts will continue to grow and become fuller. Around 2 years after beginning puberty, girls usually have their first period. I have more information in this supplemental folder in Google Classrooms about talking to your kids about puberty and sex. You can read more on it there. Pubic hair becomes coarser and curlier. Underarm hair begins to grow. Some girls also have hair on other parts of their body, such as their top lip. This is completely normal. Girls start to sweat more. Girls often get acne, which is a skin condition that shows up as different types of spots, including whiteheads, blackheads, pus-filled spots called pustules. Girls can have white vaginal discharge. Girls go through a growth spurt, and from the time their periods start, girls grow about 2 to 3 inches annually over the next year or two, and then reach their adult height. Most girls gain weight, and it's normal for this to happen. As their body shape changes, girls develop more body fat along their upper arms, thighs, upper back. Their hips grow more round, and their waist gets more narrow. Once they have become women, after about 4 years of puberty, their breasts are adult-like, their pubic hair has spread to their inner thigh, genitals now are now fully developed, and girls stop growing taller. Boys, puberty anywhere before 8 is too early, and after 14 is late, and it takes about 4 years as well to complete. The first sign of puberty in boys is usually that their testicles get bigger and their scrotum begins to thin and redden, and that pubic hair starts to appear at the base of their penis. Later signs of puberty in boys, after about a year or so and for the next couple of years, the penis and testicles and the scrotum gradually become darker. You can read more about penis health on the supplemental stuff and also looking it up online. Pubic hair becomes thicker and curlier, underarm hair starts to grow, boys sweat more. Breast can swell slightly temporarily. This is normal but not the same as man boobs. Boys may have wet dreams, which is the involuntary ejaculation of semen as they sleep. Their voice will break, and as it becomes permanently deeper. For a while, a boy might find his voice becomes very deep for a minute and then very high the next. That's completely normal. Boys often develop acne as well, and boys go through a growth spurt, becoming taller at an average of about 3 inches a year, and they become more muscular. After about 4 years or so, boys turn into men, and their genitals are like an adult male's genitals. Their pubic hair has spread to their inner thighs. The facial hair begins to grow, and boys may have to start shaving. Boys get taller at a slower rate, but stop growing completely around 16 years old, but they may continue to get muscular. Most boys will have reached full adult maturity by 18 years of age. I think they mean maturity by physical maturity. This is an audio attention verification question. At what age does puberty start for each sex, and how long does puberty last for each sex? Please write the question down and your response to submit later. So next we go into talking to our teens about sex. So this, I think, will be our last slide before we enter into part 3, which will begin on dating and teens. So to talk to our kids about sex, we might have lots of questions, like, when is the right time to talk to them about it? The answer to that question is when they start asking questions about it. But the responses don't have to be completely accurate or include all of the details. It just needs to be age appropriate, as age appropriate and accurate as you can make it. And then when is the right time to start discussing drug use, which is also in the part 3 of Everything Teen. And the answer to that question is when they start asking questions. So always being ready to talk to them about it. Here's a video on parents talking to their kids about puberty and sex.